The Influencers, Part 3. As anyone acquainted with the practice will know, facilitating canon is hungry work. Even if that work only consists of unlocking a door and failing to testify in front of a news camera, therefore refusing to assist in the brutal and obvious railroading of several potentially innocent main characters. It still takes a good dose of moral fiber, as Avril's aunt might put it. She likes cop shows and dramas with quick and dirty storylines that can be wrapped up in 48 minutes, with no doubt as to who the villain is. She'd probably be totally gutted to know that Avril gave up the chance to bring some potential criminals to justice. The three so-called influencers have spent an invigorating afternoon influencing the plot. But there's only so much of that one can do in a single day. Honestly, Avril isn't sure how main characters manage to keep their strength up to get more than a few chapters into the story.
I'm not really sure how main characters manage to keep their strength up to get more than a few chapters into the story, #honestly.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't know. I just thought it and figured I should say it, #apology.
Well, as long as you stay it quiet like, we're already getting looked at askance.
What? No, we're not. Maybe you are, with your silly hat. But I come here all the time.
Have you noticed that we appear to be the only folks of the human persuasion?
Well, duh, it's a troll diner.
The burgers seem #normal.
Of course they're normal. You're racists.
Okay, hold your horses. That's a little hasty. I didn't mean...
Silas, wisely, does not finish her sentence. She is not actually sure what she means, but it probably would not be wise to say it here.
Aren't you gonna eat something, Silas?
I'm alright. Just a little bit queasy after all that noise, if I'm being honest.
The trio take a moment to experience a collective traumatic flashback of the hour or so they spent beneath the shadow of Strider Memorial Tower. They'd scarcely unlocked it when the four main characters had come hustling across the field, and the only place to hide in a hurry had been the other side of the tower. They'd huddled together, hoping that no one would think to scout out the area before ascending. Luckily, they weren't dealing with professionals.
Yeah, we probably shouldn't have heard any of that shit.
Now, it wasn't our fault they were carrying on that way. Talk about airing dirty laundry.
When they were freed from their awkward, family feud-adjacent prison, it only felt natural to stick together. Classically, a jock, a drama nerd, and an heiress only come together in the case of great political upheaval or a teen movie, but none of them really felt like going home yet.
Everything okay there?
Huh? Oh, all good. Just checking my emails.
You and the expert kid are close, though, am I right?
I'm not sure I'd say close. I've been to his house some, and we hang out in theater club. We met during a very bad production of Guys and Trolls.
What?
Guys and Trolls.
Again, what?
It's a musical.
I saw a production on New Broadway last year. Splendid show.
Right, well, this one was not very splendid. But Harry's costumes were fire. He didn't try out because he gets stage fright.
Bless.
The son of the creators gets stage fright? #hidden fears? He's been in, magazine spreads his whole life, #child star.
Yeah, but he never had to speak. But yeah, once I went to his house and his mom talked to me about gender.
Lamau, what?
Harry Anderson's ma? The rope talked to you about gender?
Yeah.
Gender? Out of nowhere? #woke moms.
Sort of. I guess I have a gendery vibe. Still waiting for them to make a vibes emoji.
I'm glad they haven't, darling. Your quirk is frankly absolutely indecipherable.
Thanks. You know Tavros Crocker, don't you? Does that mean you know the Batter Witch herself?
No is pushing it. We've spoken. Not about gender.
#lol.
We weren't simpatico exactly. Barely friends. Just, The sort of fella you hang around when your ma drags you to a fundraiser. And she's busy cutting rug with some oil magnate. And your pa is chatting up the recently widowed heir to the company that makes the lids that go on jelly jars. That sort of friend.
Oh yeah, hashtag relatable.
Anyhow, he was always just there. And I was there. And we were the only people our age. Makes sense we'd say, how do you do? Even if he ain't the easiest guy to talk with.
Well, yeah, he's a crocker. Ugh, there's no crocker emoji. It's copyrighted.
Wasn't really that, if I'm honest. Just a bit timid, hesitating when he talked. And I'm forthright to a fault, that's what people say. He'd never say what he meant. He'd just wait for you to understand, and he wouldn't ask for a thing if he wanted it. He'd wait for you to guess what it was. As if I'm like to beat him around the head just for him asking to pass the salt.
If Jane Crocker was my mom, I'd probably be scared to ask for the salt too. Hashtag unwoke moms.
Oh, come on. He's richer than a king. Money makes up for a shitty home life.
If you say so.
Well, don't look at me for hashtag first-hand accounts. I don't know famous people like you do. I have to get my gossip the old-fashioned way, hashtag online. And speaking of hashtag gossip, are we just gonna pretend like that shit with the witch and the seer didn't go down while we were listening because...
Boom!
Good lord, what was that?
You just had to start talking shit.
I didn't do that!
Now, don't panic, we can just...
Boom!
It's an air raid!
Here? What the hell? They don't have an hashtag here. Nothing ever happens hashtag here.
Hey, you all maybe should hurry up. I mean, if you don't want to die.